Шановні гості,
Ladies and gentlemen, we kindly ask you to move forward closer to the platform, then you will see speakers the best way. So, please take your seats, and in a few minutes we will continue. So, we're going to start with the 9 discussion platform, and this is the discussion platform, the principles of equal rights and opportunities win-win strategy. We're going to discuss the opportunities for men and women who choose to live stereotypes-free and why everyone wins from it and what kind of advantages it brings to the society. Let us introduce the TV presenter, moderator of this very platform, Mr. Alexander Pedan. We kindly ask to invite Taras Topola and Alyosha, UNFPA ambassadors. That's the project's name, the Happiness in 4 Hands. So Volodymyr Amelyan, Minister of Infrastructure of Ukraine, 2016-2019, and Svetlana Bevza, designer and Bevza, that's family. And the couple, Alyona Shkrum and Dmytro Nadaluka, members of the Parliament of Ukraine, the political party Batkivshina, and the servants are for the people fraction. And the couple, Viktor Lechkuduk, member of national team Invictus Games, and Galina Lechkuduk, volunteers and entrepreneur. So, we give the floor to Alexander. Thank you. So let's wait until the rest of us will take their places. So, let's applaud to each other. So, because for us, gender is a very important issue. And it's very great that we just talk about this. And today is the last discussion. So, you've heard the ministers, you've heard the other very successful people. But today we're going to have another interesting discussion because we're going to have the absolutely successful people everywhere, and especially those who are sitting with me, those couples, those who are career successful people, and those who are family successful people, those who are in the family. So, I live with my wife for 16 years together. I think it's a fantastic family career for us. So, unfortunately, my wife didn't join me because she's on maternity leave, and that's why we're going to talk with our respondents. And I would like to start with the family, which is the most interesting here. So, the political issues is always interesting. But the last time it's even really interesting. So, it's very hard to even believe that we do have some changes. And then it's interesting that we have 2 people's deputies or member of the parliament, and they are coming back home from the parliamentary meetings. And then what? Let's applaud to them. Let's talk about the new standards. It's a new cabinet of ministers, but we understand we have to applaud to the members of parliament, Alyona Shkrun and Dmytro Nataluha. So if you have some problems with the so-called agree or disagree questions, could you tell us? I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So, I know the show who is on top of someone. That's who is on top. And I saw the movie, The People's Servant. And I've heard that it should be a kind of a mixture. So the metro represents the fraction, the servant for the people, and Bolena from Batkivshina political party. So what do you think? How you can separate your responsibilities? Is it okay? I think it's absolutely natural that we're different, and every couple, they have the different attitudes to the specific issues, nuances, etc. And it's a kind of a specific idea to complete each other And it's the interesting vision. You can cover the specific problems from the different point of view. So, well, we had lots of political nuances, etc. So, if there is a lack of this political nuances, then political misunderstanding, it doesn't matter. So, for us, we'll continue our dreams, common dreams. So, well, we are together because it's the common dreams of us. We are with politics, but it's a history. It's a history of what you can come to the policy and you can change the life for better. But it's a great idea to prove that political activity is not only dirty thing, but it's a kind of a really your really your opportunities, your abilities. And now just, here, not as the political representatives, but you are like a couple, like a family. So, for example, when the family is working for the same position, for the same job, but maybe you have some taboos, do you, talk about the different political things? Yes, we do. We talk. We came to this discussion. So I honestly speaking, we're for the first time to be on the same stage, and we agreed to perform together. Olena Kondratyuk asked me and proved me that this is the idea. So, and we're thankful. We were studying together in the Institute of the International Relationship. It was 10 years ago. We were sitting together in the same table, and he just got the best samples from me. We were studying French language for that moment, and Dmitro worked as the lawyer. Then I just worked in France, and I worked as a lawyer in France. In fact, we had the dream, and the dream was to join the political activity. So 5 years, I was the representative of Batькivщина political party in the parliament. Dmitro also, just to stay with me, refused from the clients or whatever. So, well, and the idea was maybe we should refuse from the carrier because we are together so well. And normally it's interesting because a woman always refused from building the carrier. So, well, this is, I'm thankful that Dmitry supported me, and it's great that if you have a dream, you have to continue. If we're going to be members of parliament, both of us, 2 members of parliament, that would be great. And what about the conflicts at home? Yeah, honestly, it happens. Not often, but it happens. What was about the last conflict? She refused to cook tea for me. To whom I refused. Why I refused? Maybe you will explain why. And you can continue if you want. But in reality, we had political conflicts. Let's finish with this tea. And she was afraid that if she cooked tea, then her place was replaced by our cat. It's a kind of a political discussion. And the cat, your cat, who is this cat? He's a mediator. And if you were talking about conflict of interest, the main conflict of interest is with our cat, because the cat always pretending to take our seats or to have our meal. Maybe it was the great idea not to have the cat but the dog, and maybe the dog is the major things, okay. But I would like to apologize that I am taking care of this very family, because we have to let them go earlier. That's Dmitro, that's the interesting issue. Your wife told us that always it happened that, and it's usually that the wife refusing from their dreams just to support the husband. And what about you? Are you serious taking that you were right about to refuse from the carriers just to support your wife, or maybe it was jealousy towards Alyona. Maybe he was jealous for her because, more attention to her, etc. So, well, maybe it's the very strange history, but at least, and what could you tell us? It was especially okay. It was nothing special. It was a decision. And the decision was absolutely unexpected for us, the first and the second, I mean the decision to join the political parties. But the difference is that it was quite hard because we were passing through different myths and stereotypes, social culture, etc. So, and it was interesting from us because there was the publicity activity, and it was the public activity, and it was from the women's side. So, well, and it's kind of a psychological pressure. And for 5 years together, I got a lot of skills in psychological analysis and psychology that even I'm ready to open my training session. So, well, Alyona came home, and what? 5 years ago, I had nothing to pass, but you are 5 years together with your wife, all theories and practice together at home. It's, investigations for 5 years, etc. So then I understood that, oh, it's a great idea to be together. So, well, without any jokes, I want to say 5 years, it was like challenge for us. And it made us really strong because it's really interesting to observe about the processes, what's going on. And it's interesting to see their different reactions. And what about social stereotypes and social myths? Political things is absolutely cruel. The policy is cruel, and somehow it's. Have you faced some bullying, trolling, or whatever? So well, political issue. Alyona, that's a things, but Alyona would shave if she wants, but we had no jealousy towards the carriers of each other. And it was like the team player. We were team players. We were trying to do something to be successful and not to be upset. And for me, I didn't tell to my wife that, oh, that's political things and political activities is not for women. I didn't tell this. And really, she was dreaming about this. She wanted to join the policy, and then she reached this, and this is great. And it was interesting. It was interesting experience to us. And we also really we just the first 2 years I drove her everywhere, so I was her personal driver. So well, it's not like a kind of victimicity of this, but I'm just talking about the first term, second term, and we were passing through all these challenges. And what about family values? What is interesting for everybody? So, well, you know that you have cat, and do you have some responsibilities? Who is in charge of what? Who feed the cat? Who is cooking this beverages, tea? Who is paying the bills? Maybe you have someone to pay the bills again. Could you tell us about your family lives? You know each other for a long period of time, so we lived together before we got married. So I think we had this specific agreements before we married each other. I'm very thankful for Dima's mother. Dima's mother, I taught her with the great respect. And Dima's paying the bills, it's true, but we don't have the different things like we don't have. For example, I came late home at 9 p.m. And there is no dinner at home. So we say if there is no dinner, Dima would call for the restaurants for the dinner, for catering, whatever. So, well, I think it's a kind of experience. And Dmitro lived in Italy for 5 years, and his parents, they were diplomats, and they worked there for a long period of time. So, well, And when Metro says that I accept the things different way, it's really true. For example, I am afraid of different mistakes. I don't want to make the mistakes. For the Metro, it doesn't matter. So, well, he didn't understand me about my worries. For example, I wanted to refuse from Band-Aid, and for me, it was absolutely bad, it seems to me, to be member of the different parties and just to refuse from my mandate. And Dima told me that you are the idiot. You have to belong to your party, and I need to belong to my party. That's it. So, well, at least you have a wonderful idea to talk to each other. Why he didn't want to refuse from the mandate of members of parliament? So, well, he did a lot of things to feel myself comfortable there. So, well, he refused from the clients, etc. So, well, he really made my life there more comfortable. Do you think it's because of stereotypes? No, I don't think so. Well, it was different things. So, well, please, thank you. Let's give them the applause. Great. Thank you. So, well, we let Dmitry go because Dmitry is going to have the meeting. So, Dmitry is going to continue his work, and thank you so much. Alena will stay, and let's change our direction. And now we have another couple. Taras, Topolia, and Alyosha, representatives of the Ukrainian showbiz. They are ambassadors of the fund, UNFDFPA. They are friends and partners. They are partners. They are partners. So, for me, for example, I am the only one person who is not reading Viva magazine about the showbiz. At least we have to. So many, three couples, you, Potap and Nastya, and Tonya and Arsen. Three so-called, celebrity couples. So I think, we didn't, how many with your wife? 16 years. And what about you? 10 years together. In the year 2020, we're going to celebrate 10 years together. 10 years together for this family, and they work together in the showbiz. You've been very famous when you got to know each other. So why it happened? I was singing, and we were performing in Slavsk, and then we met each other, and it happened in Slavsk. West Slavsky in the Transcarpathian area. There was open-air concerts in Polonina in the valley, and we had 3 days before one concert, and then 2 days after. We've met in the Transcarpathian areas, and it was good atmosphere. It was a great songs. It was great atmosphere, great emotions. It was so bright, nice company. Everybody's so creative. So we were working there. So showbiz, you were singing. What about you? Have you had some moments, for example, some jealousy? Someone is more popular, someone less from you. Is it okay? Today, I had. I was a little bit jealous because he was invited for the concert in Lviv. And I'm jealous because he was invited, but me not. Andrew Likov, that's the common friend of us. But frankly speaking, we don't have a lot of. Who is the more wealth. We do not know because I pay bills for utilities and I pay for others. My mom is mathematics and I am the humanitarian person and I just literature mainly what I'm dealing with. I am also a humanitarian person. But I pay my bills, communal bills. The communal tariffs for you is the most important issue. Now, communal tariffs, so what? Do you have kids? Yeah. We have 2 kids. It's the quintessence of our partnership. Because what about your touring, concerts, etc.? Could you tell us about your reality? Who is the number one in your family, etc.? What about the communication with your kids? We have the nice communication with our kids. Well, I refuse from even having the nanny and the babysitter. Why? I watched a lot of bad videos. We refuse from babysitter. And then it was the real problem. The second kid, we got the second kid, and then 4 months for our Mark, for son. Then I came to the understanding that we need to have the babysitter. And then we found it, and she worked with us for a long period of time, and then my parents, they joined us. They came to Kiev and they stayed in Kiev and they staying with our kids. Do you live with the parents? They just bought the flats here, so well, and my mother-in-law is helping with our kids, and then so we know that they will, taking care of my kids because we are touring a lot. So I want to say, unfortunately, it is great to have kids with us and parents with us. It's parents helps us a lot, and then the kids, it means 24 hours of work. It's a hard work. It's not so easy. It's not easy. Responsibility, raising the kids, emotions, informations you are passing to your kid. The good example, for example, it happened. She has a tour. For example, I have a tour, and then what? So since Antitila, that's the group I play for, so we are going to have 1.5 months touring, and physically it's very hard. So of course you need to have the specific family support. Maybe you've been thinking to have the paternity or maternity leave. I want to say that we respect all the ambitions, self-realizations of each other. And I cannot imagine that Alyona could tell me, come on, stay with our kids. I cannot believe. And I cannot say to my wife, oh, come on, can finish with your career and stay with the kids. Because even the last pregnancy, she spent a lot of time by performing. And you have to understand, the kid should understand, the mama should be by the baby. What I want to say, and what about the breastfeeding? She's so smart. She had this breastfeeding for 1 year and 1 month. 1 year and 1 month. She had the breastfeeding. So well, she was trying to use the breastfeeding as long as possible. I was flying to the concerts. And then I was flying back, and then, feeding my baby the same day. So we had the specific vacation in Venus. So we had 4 days, 5 days, 4 days, 4 days. It was our honeymoon, and was about. We were just staying together. We were trying to find this 4 days for vacation. It was like that, and Rialto Bridge and then back, then fit breeding, then again, and then it was the specific plastic bags. We brought specific. Yeah, you went to Venice without the kid. Yes, and from the Venice you brought what? Your milk? Yes, because we were trying to keep the breast milk for our babies. So well, it's cool. So we were driving around to enjoy the different places. We've been to Milano and we were trying to find a specific room to stay for keeping the breast milks, etc. So what about second kid? Well, the second is already adult, so if the baby is more adult, more serious. Okay. In reality, did you find a babysitter? Yeah, we got babysitter. Becomes easier for us, but also, babysitter needs to have rest too. And we have the moments when they are sick. Two kids with the infections, and it's a kind of a circle. 24 hours infection in between one and two kid, and it's always, and you have to be always with them. If the baby is sick, the best is mom. Mom is the best idea. So in 4 hours, mama and daddy. So you are sitting with the babies, and the temperature is very high, and the flu, but at least it's a lot of care for the baby. And for example, for tomorrow, 9 o'clock, you have to go there. So we have the common issue to discuss. So we have 5 from our class are sick. I mean, the kids, right? So I understand that if we'll have another kid, I will tell you, my dearest, let me stay at home, because I do want to stay at home. For me, it's a kind of a vacation to stay with my kids. I want to stay more with them, stay with them. And you cannot compare carrier and the family, because the idea is, let's stay better for family. I love to stay with family. I have no idea what you're going to do tonight. I know, don't tell me. Okay. Just imagine for the actresses and actors, it's very important. Somehow the actors and actresses should be egocentric, focused on themselves, etc. So you mean what? Do you love yourself? Well, I'm a too egocentric person, but okay. This is my point of view. I'm sharing. So it happens. And if you're observing the top celebrities, they are egocentric, and they are not talking about this. And just to understand that the family is the most important thing in the life. You understand? I'm 37. I'm already like Pretula says, I'm the gray kid with the gray hair. But I understand after 30 years, you understand that finally it's better to stay with kids at home than to have these tours around the country. It's not the old age, it's genetics. My gray hair, it's the genetic results. I was nervous, and it's a kind of a genes. But it's great to see your kids growing. You have to see how it goes, how they raise. and etc. So I am encouraging myself that it's better to spend time with kids. We have, we are tourists, etc. But we have to spend time. If there is a specific free time, it's definitely for the kids. And we are dealing a lot with the public activity. For example, we are with you. This is public activity. When we are free, we always spend our time with kids. You know. So 2 weeks, and I said, oh, well, let's go there for 2 days at least. I need to go there. And he says, what you say to our kids, if you want to go for 2 days for day off, what you will tell to the kids? We will not we'll have to spend time with kids. So, well, if we go somewhere, then we'd rather do it with the kids. So this is about our discussion. So we're going to discuss some panelists. We will discuss with them, and then you will ask different questions. But it will be late. Are you nervous? Everything is okay? So we have so many famous people here, so and you're cool, and we're talking about sports and medicine, and also we're just changing our rockers. And Victor Lehkodub, the member of national team in Victor's games. As far as I understood, it's our team those who got some wounds during the military activities. So I remember how it was starting, and I understand how it goes. And Starlet Media is one of our partners, though we would like to express special thanks to Starlet Media. And it's understand this to started this project. Let's applause to this channel, TV channels. So we do have social stories, and not all the commercial channels could show the social stories like in Victor's games, because it's not commercial things. And Galina Lehkoduk, the volunteer. And could you tell us where did you meet each other? Could you share with us some things? Victor would start, so we understand who is the head of this family, Victor. Well, I would like to express special thanks to the organizers for inviting us for this Women's Congress, because for us, for me and for my wife, is the first event where we can perform and share with my thoughts. What about your thoughts? What do you think about? Is it okay to be the number one in the family, a man, or what? No, it should not be like this. It should not be like this. In the family should be the equal opportunities. It should be equal opportunities for the and so equality. Briefly speaking, family should have the same goal, and the family should move to the same target, to the same goal. What do you mean so well? And he's a little bit nervous, but even we think the same, we think alike. Just as true, we just move into the same direction. We're just trying to reach the goals, our common goals, and we live all together with our spirit together. And my question is, Victor, you're dealing with sports. Your activity is sports. So, well, how many hours you are? Except the sports, I'm the professional military. What is your main profession? What is the 80% of your activity? And recently, I joined back to the military service. but I just renew my career. And after being wounded, I decided to join my alma mater, Lvivska Military Academy, named after Hetman Sahaidatchny. And I served there as the professor of the Department of the Special Military Skills there. And I shared with my experience with the future officers. And how do you support your husband? I'm always asked this question. So we met each other after trauma, after he was wounded. It happened the second day after hospital. There was in the year 2015, and I still remember, I think 13th of March, and he says 11th of March. 11th, that was the last day in the hospital. So yes, we met each other 13. Well, I understand, and then here, this is Galinas trying to be an advantage. So, did you work as the medical person or a volunteer? I was volunteering there, so it was the most important thing. So it was the hardest date. I was finishing my medical university, and I was right about to finish, and my sister they worked there, and then she sent him for the medical investigations to Warsaw, and he gave me a call, and he said, "That's such a great man, so let's bring something to him, something tasty." What about your sister? So two girls were so attracted of you, and then what? So it was a very hard time because he was so attractive to both of us, to me and then for my sister. So let's give an applause to Victor. So you came to visit Victor, and the very first moment we watched each other, we looked at each other's eyes, and we understood that we are something together. We have something together. So it's so cute story. You're very upset for your sister? No, we have nice relationship. She was married for that moment. So it was okay. And then you always were together. We had a friendly relationship. There was a constant communication. Then Victor visited our family, and I said to myself, yes, I want to marry her. And he said, great to visit her mom. Yes, it's great. My mom helped. And then it was great. The relationship started, and 7 months later, we got married. What about the moments? Maybe you had moments very special to take care of Victor. Have you ever thought to change your life, to devote your life to Victor? Sometimes it happens, but I devoted to my life for, I'd rather say 2 years I devoted to him, my life to him, because it was the constant support. It was rehabilitation period for him, and it took time. But Victor also helped me a lot how to realize. He supported me to find the job, and I found this job, and I work. We're talking about you, Victor, and sometimes it's hard to the wife to go for a job because it's something. You're just losing your wife, and let's say, and then she works somewhere, and you are spoiled with her special care. What was the motivation? May I say something? So, Vita is very independent. Vita supports herself. He been to rehabilitation there, L.A., Los Angeles. So he was driving there in Los Angeles, in California, and he wanted me to realize myself. So he was not alone with these dreams. So he wanted me to be a self-realized person. So well, and he said he always proposed to find my way to realize. Well, it's very hard to find the way. So the very important things to understand that everything depends on us. Victor, it's a fantastic applause to you. You're a very strong person. I want to say that for me, my wife is a kind of a mover, a tool. This is the very specific support. Because of her, I didn't lose my desire to leave, and I got the desire to move on. Thank you. And you're just wonderful. And now, Volodymyr and Svetlana. Volodymyr Amelian, Minister of Infrastructure, 2016 to 2019. And Svetlana Bevza, the designer of the very famous brand Bevza. Where did you meet each other? So who started with what? I think Svetlana, you're just well known, the local brand. So we're very glad to be here. So I established my brand in the year 2006. We've met each other twice. My cousin introduced me to you, and we started to communicate this in the year 2009, but it was just communication. It was in one coffee place, and we were talking, sitting, and then after 3 years, again, I met my cousin, and my cousin was with his friend. It was 14th of October 2012. It was Pokrova celebration, and so the family, they knew each other, and so well, and you've been very successful designer for that period of time. The brand was famous. 6 years of brand, and then what about you? I've been diplomat for the first period of time, and then for the year 2015, I was married with her, and then I was the deputy minister. I was in Canada. Volodymyr Omelian, I'm the deputy minister, and they told you, you are the husband of the very famous designer Bevza. So what was your attitudes towards? It was the only one thing, I think. It was just like a joke. But really, I was proud because I was taught from my family that it should be a respectful attitudes, and for us, very important to have self-realization. You should not push your timetable. You should not push your opinions. You should. I'm very happy that Svetlana is the world designer, and she was one of the best designers, even the best for the year 2013. So she got this award for the year. And I'm very proud that for the second time, I'm a husband of the well-known designer. And as far as I understand, and I am retired. I'm a pensioner. What do you do? Hunting, fishing. We've been to the specific kid celebration. Marco, our son, was singing, and he was singing for me. It was cool, and it was about Ukraine. So, well, the winter and the rain, etc. For me, it's the new profession. I work with the social networks, and I'm just dealing with the network. Um, do you have kids? We have 2 kids. We have son and daughter. 5 years of son and 1.5 year for another baby. How of you are on maternity leave? For me, it's interesting things. I left them in the year 2015, and then I came back 2019. It's not true, because he was always with us. It's not only telling that you're just leaving us. You were so busy, it's true. I have more time to communicate with kids, but my husband was so busy. He had no days off or whatever, so well, and he was always doing a lot of work. So while he is a workaholic, a very successful manager, but it's also, very, successful. And the priorities for us is family. And we were trying to support each other, and I spend more time with the kids because I'm more flexible in my family, in my working agenda, in my, one kid, then the second kid, and I did my best. I can, let's say, make my time flexible. But my husband is a very sensitive father, and I spend a certain time to explain something to my oldest baby. I'm nervous, I have lots of emotions, and my husband never cry. He speaks with the son very, with the kid, so quiet. And few other things to ask. The family relationship, it's interesting, and it's the very important things, and it's the painful events sometimes, especially among the successful people, those who are devoted their time to the career growth. So we have to take care of our kids to provide them the best. In my life, I was so active in my career. The oldest is at least 15 years old, and I missed a lot in her growing process, and I was very ashamed, but I'm very happy that I become a friend of her. And 3 years ago, I got a son, Mark. We have 3 Marks. Okay, you have Mark, I have Marek, Mark. So 3 different Marks. Very popular name. And I said, Marco, it's the best idea. We will talk to you. And when I got my son, I came to the understanding that I need to spend maximum time with him. And it's interesting, because to read the book, to show him the different paintings, pictures, etc. So, well, maybe you found time, and the maternity leave, that's okay, but you spend a lot of time with your baby. We spend a lot of time with the different other projects, but for me, what is interesting, it's interesting to be with my son, with Mark. He's cool. You still have this connection with him? Yes. We saw each other for this period of time, at least few hours, only per week. But I understand that if you want to stay with your baby, it's great, especially in case if it's a son, the baby's son. It was interesting to stay with father. So for Mark, I always said that Mark is so cool, is so nice, is the best sample. And then the father appeared, and it was the specific. There was a specific way to talk to the baby. It's a great super authority. He's a super authority man for the baby. And what type of whose money you spend? Svetlana's. I am just the husband of the very famous designer. So mainly, I am the person to provide the budget into the family. I'm not eating a lot, more or less okay. So, well, I'm not eating a lot just to save money from her. What about the interests? Did you talk about each other about this money? Well, from the very beginning, I got the moral support for self-realization. It's great. I have the character. I adore our kids. I adore to spend time with them. I love what I do. I love positive world. I love my realizations way, and I love my aesthetics because people like it, and we're not talking about the push things, so how to push. I was worrying about other things. 1 month and a half you had between your jobs. It was very hard times for him. Psychologically, it was different things for you. You started to think about what and how to continue. So, somehow it happens. Some people after the bright career and after stop, the men could start with alcohol or whatever. But I was absolutely quiet and then sure about my husband because he had also self-realization ideas. So and you also provided the support. It's great. And it's not just the wife as your closest friend. Just try not to bring home some working moments because I think it's bad for the family. We always had stressful work. So, 15 minutes we were like keeping in quiet time, and then we were starting to communicate and share. Interesting. So it's interesting. So you understand. So we do have time. So when we're talking about ATO, she says you have to spend time with kids, etc. Svetlana. So now I would like to focus on you. Svetlana is the sample of how the successful woman decided to find the best career and profession, but she has time, inspiration to be successful in her work and to earn money for the family, and also to devote time to their kids and to be a kind of a important person regarding the kids. Could you share with us? We have a lot of women, and it's interesting how it's happened, how to combine the happy happy family and the kids and the business. So, well, it's impossible to be successful in all things. Yes, my working hours is also depends on my oldest son, so I can work since 9 till 2:30, and in the primary school, it's everything all about his school. And the youngest kid, also I need to stay with my youngest kid. So since 9 to 2, that's 4-5 hours. So I just, I'm coming to my work, delegate the responsibilities, and then very important to have the good team, those who can understand. So I delegate the tasks and the information, and then they just know how to deal. And just to be on time, just to do everything perfect, you have to put the right priorities. You have to refuse from something. This is the price for your success. Svetlana made a career before become mama. So you've been working in business, you had a team, and then after the success, you devoted more time. That's the time when to deliver babies. It's also the time for our society. That's the question. Then they say, if you are 20, you have to make baby, like how it was stereotypes. And now my wife, 35 years old, even given the birth to a baby, and this is great. And then you can understand it's even better. My recommendation, you have to be very careful before getting married and before giving a birth. You have to understand what you would like to get in your life, and you have to understand what you would like to get in your life. And so that's if you already tried, but you have to share your destiny with your kids. That's a kind of a sharing of your destiny to another personality. You have to build a family. You have to trust. That's a wonderful thing. The trust is important. But you have to understand that you have to be absolutely sure about your mission of your life. What is the mission of your life? My mission is, I've been thinking about this, to make this world beautiful, to use the methods of what I'm doing, the aesthetic world, aesthetic, elegant world. This is not only in the clothes, but in my lifestyle, etc. But my highest mission is to make happy and to give this support to my 2 kids. And now that's a Q&A session. So now I would like to ask one question from my side. And do you have any questions? Yes, this is great. So, well, I have a question. And some moment, I and my wife, we understood the way of respect. So we have to understand the way of respect towards the specific, let's say, vacation from each other. I like extreme things. Olena knows about me. I like surfing, snowboarding, and it was like a torture for my wife. 5 years she was trying to use snowboards. For the 6 years she says, "Come on, I want to go my way." So she says, "I don't want to be with you in winter areas. I want to have summer areas." And then few years passed for understanding that she wants all inclusive in Turkey or in Egypt. She wants to have the specific vacation just to eat, to relax, etc., but not the extreme. And we found our own formula. So we have family vacation. We're going there with all inclusive, comfortable things, not too far, for example, fun. And we're going there with my family. For me, it's kind of boring, but I respect. I hate to tan or to spend time nearby the sea. And then I can fly with my friends to the mountains. And my wife found the company of the girls, and they can go together to the festivals of the hairstylists into Austria, or just to go to Istanbul for walking tours or whatever. What do you think? What is your attitude towards the vacation of each other? Have you ever faced the ability to spend vacations without each other? So I was trying. I had few attempts. I had 2 days with my friend, with my girlfriend for Biennale, and then my husband said, "What can you do for 2 days?" It's normally there is a rule: we just spend time together or together with the kids. Maybe in 10 years after, maybe then we will separate from each other, and then this is absolutely normal. But it's an issue of trust. I think it's a trust question. I can trust my wife to those girlfriends of her, let them go for discotheque or whatever. So, well, in my family, we had not enough time to stay together. We had even no day offs, and then that is why for us we miss each other. We want to stay with each other. And okay, so well, I think, okay, Taras, what about you? You're just talking about some Kramula, but 3 times a year I can fly to there, I can fly there, etc., etc. But I tell you, it's are you jealous? No, because we have 3 years of very intensive work, and we are very busy, and so we have some situative and strategic tasks for our family. For this very period of time, we have different other tasks. I think in 10 years after, we will do this. Okay. So, okay, I'm too old, I think. In reality, it doesn't happen, so we cannot plan. We're very intensive in our work, information a lot, solutions a lot, but I agree with you, with your thesis is we have to provide the ability to each other to keep ourselves far from each other. So it happens. That's so. So we can spend time with 2 kids. We're not boring each other. So you have different stories. 1 month and a half, you are staying outside of the family because you are touring. Okay, performances, and you. And normally we're just trying to spend time together with our kids somewhere. That's a format. So it's a kind of a labor burning, and we understand you just have a lots of stresses, and you have to at least to find time to relax. So thank you. Yes, this is great. And a very short question. Maybe you're so 5 minutes of vacation. 5 minutes, okay. Well, I'm very busy. I do have lots of business trips, and but we are not planning to have a separate vacation. We are spending time together. We're just doing everything together. We don't have common kids. Victor, what do you like? I like to go to the sports gymnastics, dealing with the, I'm going to the fitness center, to the sports activity, and we plan to spend vacations together. It's not about the vacation. I want to say during my rehabilitation time in Germany in the 2 years, and I went there for myself. I was there in the year 2016, so I spent there 6 years, and I returned back home because I missed her. That was rehabilitation without me. It was very hard. We didn't see each other for 6 days, and it was so bad for him. It was not the best rehabilitation for him. It was very hard. So it was. We are still in the period to stay together with each other. So well, the love at first glance, right? Now diplomatic corps. 5 years, I have the same situation. Like we had different specific business trips, etc. We had international events for a week, international meetings, etc. So, for example, I returned and then he's going somewhere, etc. So maybe it's so shocking things. A year ago, I went to Turkey for 1 week for yoga tour, and honestly speaking, he didn't want to join me. Yoga is not what he wants, but. For me, it was very important to get the psychological things. And my friends, they said, what about yoga? What about hotel? Well, we're trusting each other so well. And everything was okay, so well, no questions. So, and then you have to provide a specific tour to metro. Now, for him, it's okay. So, well, 2 years ago, he traveled somewhere with his friends, not for yoga, but to. It was Prague, or it was something beer tour or something like that. Logically, it's understandable. So, well, you're not jealous, you trust, etc. I'm talking about more trust. We're talking that we have to keep ourselves sometimes separately. What about you? I'm ready to let him go somewhere because I trust. Because it's not that it's the question of the comfort. Because this is time when I can go, and this is not the time for him to go. Okay. And do we have questions? Yes. I have a practical question to all of you. So we will come to gender equality. No, Milan Bezabet and Volodya, you forgot to say that you just, you made the Ukrainian patriots. You made the Svetlana a patriot person. And I want to ask all of you, could you tell us about your family life? If, for example, in case of conflict, who really feels guilty and who is coming first to apologize? Do you have any gender equality and who would like to apologize first? Maybe you've had something. So you know the family connections, you can tell. So every family has some conflicts, but in our country, in case if we have some questions, we're coming to each other and asking each other, and it's a kind of a 1 hour decision, and we emotions who starts then you can ask the for apologize if you're starting this conflict. So, and in our family, we had conflicts, and then what? I love you and love you. That's so well. Volodya, we're not having conflict a lot, but he was, and he is always the first. We'll see. What about you? When Dmitro met my grandma, now she's 87, and then my grandma told me, yes, you have to marry him so well because he has the sense of humor. And just frankly speaking, before him, I was different relationship, and I was so proud to be zodiacal sign is okay, but why not you say that you are not the sign of zodiac, but you're a woman? Maybe I was so stunning or whatever. So, but Metro. I was trying to use the humor, and Metro was trying to use the humoristic approaches, etc. So it's easy. For example, I had the desire to punch him, but from him it was just, oh, it's a joke. So it's great that Dimo left you for today, and you're not talking to him directly. So well, but in case of something, are you what doing? I'm starting to even to ask for apologize, because he started to apologize first, and then I respect him. Why should not I be so crazy? I should also apologize first. It's life. This is a life hack for the men. You have to start to apologize first. And 5 years of you first apologizing, and then in few moments you will get your wife very nice. So what about you? In our family, different. Well, you have I have to say that we have the specific approach. This is the same, but well, the situation is like we say that, and if we had the decision and we decided to be responsible for each other, then it's okay. We made a decision. It's not a sign from the heaven or whatever, but we made a decision. If you are in conflict. You have to understand that you come to the understanding of each other. So sometimes even you don't like to watch on your side, on her side. And then after the tour, I came home and it's a sign of love. And what about Saturday, for example, conflict? Well, the conflict is bad. Who is the first to apologize? The first? I have no idea. Maybe Olena. Because she's always guilty. And I'm always guilty. Maybe this is why I am the first. So, well, it reminds me, Soviet Union, it reminds me. So, well, situations differ. And sometimes you can, accept seriously, or sometimes with a humor. You can. It's about your life, about your ego, about things. In this case, you have to understand that this person is extremely important for me, and then we have to understand that conflict is it's not the best thing to have. Are we not losing this thing? So quite understandable. Okay, I understand everything. So well, everything is good. 5 minutes, and then you will apologize before each other. So, okay. So, and what about you guys? Sometimes we have conflicts quite often because I'm a very impulsive person, very emotional. And who apologized? Me. You, man, apologize, yes. Is it gender equal? No. It's a typical for Western Ukraine. Have you seen Mom and Sister? Yeah, you understand how well. I am from Dnipropetrovsk region, and I am from Sambor. I'm so afraid of Galicia people. I should apologize, okay. That is why you're sitting without your wife. It would be great to listen to your wife too. So it's great. Time. What about you? Maybe she should apologize before you. Could be so. Maybe some thinking about apologizing from Victor's side. He offended me and then he apologized. So maybe it's kind of a new refreshing in your emotional life. At least we will talk. Okay, another question. I have a very concrete question towards Svetlana. As the former member of parliament, what about declaration? I would like to explain after declaration with the e-declaration. My husband, he's a businessman, he's just making money, but he was so upset that once a year I came to him and then I asked, could you tell me about the, your bank bills, what left and what and how to declare and what to declare. For example, it's interesting about the declaration. Alyona also could comment, but I think that you have more simple situation. You have the same declaration too. Are you just trying to think about them? Yes, thank you for the questions. Well, yeah, it's okay now. Well, in the beginning, I said, well, it's quite a surprise. Yes, if I have the public servant, my husband, so we have to declare my income. Well, but there was no bull, there was other things, and there was a lot of questions because, and when I came closely home and I said, we have to provide the declaration about your incomes, and then there was, it was so bad words from her, and she was telling me so bad things about the reformation period in Ukraine. So, well, it was quite strange. So it was very critical and a very hard process for her to understand this issue on declaration. So while she works in a specific surrounding, we do have a lot of different designers. They have a specific vision. They know what to buy, what to purchase, etc. So that's a commercial information and it should not be public. But in our case, it's different. So after the position of minister, the official person, because my husband was a public servant, I cannot open, or I can open, but it's also too complicated to open the international companies. So we should have pen pal or these, but I can't do this because of my husband. He is the public servant, so yes. So do not come back to this service. 2 years more, yes, I'm just quite happy. Okay. I am happy that I can change something, and then you say, great, that I'm not with politics. I want to say that this is the declaration for 3 years more, or 1 year, 1 year more, yes. So, it will be the international company quite soon. Well, briefly speaking, and we had some declaration scandals in my family. But the first time I wanted to declare what I had, and I asked, could you tell us what about cars, your bank accounts, etc. So it's kind of 1 week, 1 day, etc. And I have nothing to declare. And then I came to the conclusion that then they, put the explanation. My husband didn't provide me the correct information. And I sent SMS in the parliament, Dima, give us the information. And then they just, took pictures of us, but it was our family questions, but we just, provide the declaration on time. Maybe other questions? So, I would like to express special thanks for your history, for your frankly sharing, but I want to ask you what you are talking, you are sharing, you're just telling about yourself and our concert and your competitions and your offices, because we know about the style of life in these rural areas. We know about discriminations in regards with wives, kids, husbands, etc. For us, it's very important that you, public people, you should, tell a lot about counterparting with discriminations, etc. How often do you raise this type of issue? And let's start with the celebrities. In every song, in every concert, the main sense for me and for us is for the whole period of time, we always talk to the people, because people are coming not to listen to the music, but they want to talk to you and they want to ask about you. And for me, for us, we are authors of our songs. We are just, living with the songs, and it's just, not only rhythm or whatever. So could you tell us about the song which is about the gender equality? For example, porridge, nearby, the porridge, the very famous song. And what about, it's about this family. It's about the family, about kids, that we miss them, that this is the most important thing in youth life. Then the white ideas and the blue eyes, that's so great to come back and to stay with the kids and to stay nearby our kids, just to stay near your kids. And after every song we communicate with the people. Taras, we will continue to share about ourselves, about our families, and we started to understand when we have one kid, another kid, that's a kind of a specific experience in our life, and we're sharing and we're asking about their life. And even kids are coming to visit our concert quite often. We'll continue to communicate with them and we're sharing with them. Just it's a kind of a promotion of the best ideas from our family to the people we trust, and we're happy and we're together. Briefly, Lena said already about the creative part, but I spend a lot of time for the public UNICEF activity. I met a lot of young people, and the goal of the sustainable development is the partnership for sustainable development. And partnership and the family, this is what we're talking about. If we are here in Fairmont, everything is wonderful, the atmosphere is wonderful, but the real life is different. So when the real life demands specific solutions, what I'm thinking now, I'm talking about the gambling business. There is still a lot of draft laws on gambling, and we have this very special problem with so-called gambling dependency, lotomania. We say what to expect. If we're serious, I want to ask the Women's Society, please pay attention into this process and share with your point of views. If we're not making some important steps, then 90% of those who are gambling, they are gamblers, the men, they are living all the money for this equipment. And we can legalize this gambling machine, and then what? They're asking for loans, they are living money for the gambling business, but it's very important, very complicated story. We have to pay attention on it. What I want to say, it's a problem, it's a process. I want to verbalize this problem, and it's a real problem. And also, yesterday we celebrated the Human Rights Day. So I'm also the consultant on the human rights. So we have the subcommittee on gender equality there. And on situation, I want to say that, well, I did a lot of activities with the collecting and other things. But I'm just trying to do my best and to change the situation. Talking about the gender equality, the domestic violence. So when we're participating in the specific projects, we're talking about our family story, and we're talking about support of each other. That's a positive thing. That's true, and it is honest. So you can show the real family values, because Victor is also kind of a motivator. So, well, he wants to motivate the specific category of people. And, the most active influential sample is your personal sample. It's your personal example, your personal life. And you just shared with your life stories, and you told us about your support from the side of your wife, and this is great. So you're dealing with this. And the project I'm dealing now in Victor's Games, that's the gender equality in this very project. So, well, and I mean, it's military men and women, military women, they are on the equal positions, and they could be a part of our national team, and they can represent themselves as the representative for Ukraine. So, well, if you have something to share, I want to say briefly, when I was a minister, I told that the nation should be educated and responsible. And these two criteria open us the way to get rid of different other problems. And I don't want to be very popular, but because it's true that we have sexual exploitation cases, we have the family violations, the head of the moral police was in charge of the, commercial sex team. It's a kind of but Queen Olga made some reformations. Lesya Ukrainka was the only one real, let's say, a man among women, but she was a woman. So the women's cult is even stronger than we expect. So I know lots of ministers who are tough, but they are very, obedient, etc. So, well, despite of the fact that they are from one side are so tough, but they are different. So we have to train the people to get the high moral standards. We have to teach them, and that's very thing. Tough guys. Okay, Demos left, and the question was, would do not enough. For me, it's very specific issue. So we just, the equal opportunity is a very important thing. So we just Istanbul Convention is not ratified yet, but the last issue for me, it's very important that at school we still, as of today, we use the old-fashioned program, and then a minister of the Ministry of Education says that we have to change this, and at some points, changing point is important. So we have to be personal towards these changes. We had a lot of events on the regional level. We have a lot of people from regional areas, but we're talking about the rayons, etc. Gender stereotypes in the rural areas, they're very strong. I told you that I have the grandma, 87 years old, and she says, why you should be so hard worker? Let Dima to work, but I do want to have the right to choose what I want, and I want to be happy in the political way. I want to be happy with my husband or whatever. And I want to say, and that's the history, and social activity is very important because gender issue should be a part, main content. And I am the head of the Alexander Pedam Junior Fund, and we're just changing the specific physical trainings at schools. So we want to push the kids to deal with the physical trainings better than the sitting with the gadgets. But our physical culture is not gender equality. So majority of the sports activities are not gender equality. So because some games are especially for boys. So we propose 7 sports. And the world is available to get new rules and the frisbee, etc. So and the sports should be gender equal. For example, korfball, and the established this game in the beginning of 20th century. They created this game. It reminds basketball, but they really form a mixed team, and they use the specific standards for boys and for girls. And they're already thinking about this, and we're just starting this program. So we're just and the specific ways where we can combine different boys and girls and playing one game. So, the First Lady also, we were talking on cooperation, etc. So, and she says that's a Scandinavian way. The boys. We just decided to spend time separately from the girls just to respect them. So we have to think twice and think to expand this idea to have the best education. They have rights to have the information. They have the rights, kids at school, to be active, physically active, etc. So we have 20 seconds left. So if you have specific questions to one of the couple, you can come and ask. I want to ask to see you in the social media advertisement. It should be on the level of the state advertisement, state promotions. And I want to be kind of special things. And we were talking about kids. We've been talking about the kids and my questions. How do you, avoid gender stereotypes? Gender stereotypes, the boys should be strong and the girl should be beautiful. That's very simple. In our case, there is no difference between son and then daughter, girl and boy. That's a kind of a specific approach. I think there is one nuance, and in principle, it's in the nature. By nature, we're different. Are you serious? Yes, serious. We didn't cover this, but I'm not talking about specific professions. This profession, we do have very successful scientists, politicians, military people, let's say. But as a mama, I think that everything which depends on mama, aesthetic education, I would like to pass to her. I would like to do something. I don't want him to become a princess, but I want to find the feminine structure at her, because I was taught to be good with all they love from the side of my parents, but somehow I was taught to be very independent and to reach the goals, etc. So, but when you just, becoming the adult person, so it's complicated somehow. And it should be like a golden so-called mid-approach. So, well, a woman should be taking care of herself, accept herself, etc. But she should not push some other things happen. But I think it's very important to have this so-called feminine character in feminine, so in female. So we should not lose the feminine structures during the struggle for, gender equality. So, well, let's not forget about balance. What about you, from parents? I don't have girls. I have two boys, and they are coming to me, and what they're asking, could we have something sparkling things? It's fun for them. I can put some sparkling things for them, and they can say, "Mom, Dad, you can see that it's bright, it's nice." So, and once they say why the girls are, having some interesting nails, colorful nails, want their makeup for them and not for us. I'm just trying to explain that we're just trying to make everything to attract you. You are beautiful also as men, and I'm doing it just to avoid complexes. So, well, they will choose. But as of today, as of now, I need to also be the beautiful girl. Would you like to hear something from me? I have no time. What we don't have yet. The girl, we have two boys. And talking about gender, we always hug them, we always kiss them, we let them cry. We never ask them not cry because they are men. They are people. They are kids. It's not that you're masculine. You should not this. No, it's not a big problem. And they feel themselves normal, and it seems to me that this is normal. So well, yes. So our boys are going for karate, and etc. So well. Everybody, they love care, kisses, hugs, and care. So, well, and I want to add from myself as the father. I have two kids. I have a boy and a girl. And 14 years of the girl and 3 years for the son. They are different, absolutely different. And talking about Lera, sitting on my knees, and I was melting. And my boy is not coming to sit on my knees, just, read the literature. That's wonderful literature. So read the literature. The more you read, the better. That's so well. That's interesting. Be interested in the different things. I think I've read during the teenaging period of time, you cannot sleep with your daughter because it's a kind of a process to form the attitudes towards the man, and it's a very important thing. So, well, for her during the teenage period, there should be kind of a very specific things to get experience from. Yes, it's instincts. We have to take care of our kids. Just it's psychology. Read, but respect. This is the very important thing. So, well, you have to deal with the respect and with other things. We have the same features. We have the specific balance, and in our families, it's absolutely normal. So who knows what is better, to fight for kids, for girls, or what? Briefly, And Vita Helena is so modest, I want to mention. Victor is the military officer. He was a commander, and after being wounded, he says such a great desire to do a lot of things. But I have questions. So you decided to renew your position. You've been trying to be a member of the national team. Are you okay? Is it okay? Everything's fine. The third time I've joined. Do you have any other desire? It was the first goal. So what about for you? What is Invictus? What about Invictus for you? It's a responsibility because you have to be good to express the international spirit, and you have to represent Ukraine the best way in the Netherlands. And I have this sample to show to other men, to other boys to continue to reach the goals. And Victor's Games is a very transparent things, and you have to be a super sportsman. You have to show the best results, and you have to put the goals before you. And men and girls, you are the sample. Men and girls, they should put the goals. You are not for only for men. So this is it, and let's give an applause to our guests. You are not guests, you're friends, and we have to be friends with each other. And thank you so much for this beautiful conversation and discussion. Thank you. And we would like to ask all the speakers to stay for group picture. And this is the, finish of our Women Congress. On behalf of Elena Kondratyuk, Maria Iona, Svetlana Kolovets-Sakhovska, we would like to express very special thanks for your fruitful job. The resolution would be found on the Ukrainian Women's Congress on the website today.